Beetlejuice Beetlejuice is directed by Tim Burton and it stars Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, Catherine O'Hara, Jenna Ortega and Monica Bellucci. And in the sequel to the 80s classic, Lydia Dietz must face her demons by teaming up with Beetlejuice to take back her daughter who has been taken to the afterlife. Now I watched the original Beetlejuice for the first time earlier on this year, and I can say that I loved it. I thought it was a great, charming, proper Tim Burton film. Michael Keaton killed it in the role of Beetlejuice. I loved it. But when it ended, I thought to myself, that was great, and I don't think we need any more of it. I didn't think we needed a sequel to Beetlejuice. And going into the sequel, I was quite cynical. I really wasn't looking forward to it. I thought it was going to be another cliche, formulaic legacy sequel that just reminds you of the original in so many ways, where it basically could have just been the same movie. But I must say, after seeing it yesterday, I'm pleasantly surprised. Beetlejuice Beetlejuice is not as good as the original, and to be honest, it needed a gift from God to be that good. But it's still a very solid continuation of the story. What I appreciated the most was that it didn't just rehash the original, it actually tried to do some things a bit different. A bit too many different things, but we'll get into that in a minute. But I appreciate that they tried to go in a different direction, make more unique characters and character arcs, and the way that they expanded on the lore and the world of Beetlejuice was really interesting. I just like how these films explore the afterlife and how crazy and weird it is and how they sort dead people out. And they expanded on that a lot more in this film, which was really interesting, very hilarious in many parts as well. So overall, I think the extra world building that this film does was really strong. And the plots of this film, yes, plots, there are quite a few, were really strong too. I liked the conflict between Lydia and her daughter Astrid. It is a bit like the conflict between Lydia and her parents in the original, but again, it's more personal because, you know, you relate to this character more. And also, it is a bit of a vessel to explore the other parts of this afterlife. So that really engaged me. And I really like most of the characters in this film. Even if they didn't have much of a character arc, they were still very entertaining. That's especially the case with Willem Dafoe's character. He was easily my favourite new character in this film. He was so funny, so entertaining. If you think about it, he doesn't need to be in this film, but he had personality, so I really didn't mind him showing up. But I think the character that improves the most in this film is Delia, Lydia's mother. She has an arc of getting over her grief of her husband dying, and I just think her coping mechanisms were just absolutely hilarious. She was given a lot to do in this film, and I liked her ending. She was greatly improved from the first film, and I didn't hate her in the first film, but I'd much prefer her character in this film compared to the original. However, I didn't like all of the characters. One especially was Rory, who's this new character played by Justin Theroux. He's this weird... He tries to just use Lydia for not nice things, and he's very manipulative. And every time he was on screen, he was so annoying. And they tried to make him funny to make him bearable, but it just wasn't funny. Every time he appeared on screen, the movie just dragged on. And I just felt myself thinking, can we just go back to this? You know, forget him. Let's go back to this, please. So overall, I just really did not like his character. But my biggest issue with this movie was that it is just completely overstuffed. There's about 6 plot lines in this film, I'd say. And there's just way too much going on. And it hinders the development of some plot lines which I really liked. The main plot line here is easily the one between Lydia and Astrid, and that was easily my favourite one of the bunch. But the movie also introduced many other plot lines which could have been so interesting, but because they were not on screen much or developed well, it was just completely underwhelming. And the biggest culprit of this was easily Monica Bellucci's character and her character's conflict with Beetlejuice. She has a fantastic opening, the best scene of the movie for me. And she's built up as this big bad, you know, she's a big threat to Beetlejuice and people around her. And yet she doesn't do anything after that. She's just defeated so easily by the end, and you really don't care. She was just so underwhelming, especially because she had a brilliant introduction. And I had the same problem with Astrid's love interest throughout the film. He's mainly just used to get Astrid to the afterlife, but when she's in there, it kind of just ends. And that's it. Again, so underwhelming. And unfortunately, due to the overstuffed plot, I did feel this movie kind of dragged on at times whenever it focused on something that I just really did not care about. So that was quite disappointing. But the visuals, on the other hand, were a complete polar opposite. This is probably the best looking film of the year, probably behind Longlegs, mainly because it has that pure Tim Burton style. I really appreciate that they kept to the style and charm of the original by making sure they use practical effects, practical costumes and makeup, by also making the film really colourful. That's what many blockbusters need, colour. They don't really have that much now, but this one, so vibrant with the colour, it was just beautiful to look at. And I think the editing as well really helped, because this movie is very cartoonish in some points, just like the original, but it works for this sort of movie, this dark comedy in a way. So overall, the film visually and its other technical aspects were just great, and I'm so happy that they kept to the style and charm of the original. And finally, the performances in this film were all great. I don't think I need to tell you that Michael Keaton kills it once again as Beetlejuice. I'm going to say a hot take here maybe to some people. I think he's better than this film than what he was in the original. They make him a lot more cartoonish in this film, but it helps to make Keaton's performance more energetic and weird. So I'm just so happy that Keaton can still pull off this character many years later. Winona Ryder and Catherine O'Hara are still really good as their characters, and the newcomers like Jenna Ortega were really strong in this film as well. But as I said earlier, my favourite newcomer to the film was easily Willem Dafoe as this narcissistic actor slash detective. As I said, he didn't really do much to advance the plot, but my god was he a lot of fun, and every time he was on screen, I was thoroughly entertained. So overall, Beetlejuice Beetlejuice really surprised me. It doesn't live up to the heights of the original, and as I said, it was never really going to, but it still delivers the charm and the wit of the original so perfectly to a T, and it has some solid character arcs, and there are some really good ideas. It's just a little bit overstuffed that many of the interesting plot lines were not developed well at all. But even when this movie dragged on in many parts, I was still thoroughly entertained. If you like the original, I cannot see you hating this film at all. I had a blast in the cinema, and it felt like everyone else with me as well had a blast too. So Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, what a surprise. It's going to get a very solid 7.5 out of 10 from me. And guys, that is it for the end of this review. If you have seen Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, let me know your thoughts on it in the comments. Did you think the Ghost with the Most was back with a bang? Or did you think he fumbled? Let me know. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Have a good day. I'll see you later.